Hello, and welcome, if you will, to another whiskey review with me, the Whiskey Novice. Thank you for joining me for review number 161. We are looking at some awkward ages. I'm calling them. They're not really awkward ages, are they? I mean, it's that sort of between 12 and 16. I don't know. This seemed like a good idea in my head, but it's, And this time, we're staying with it, and we're looking at Glen Scotia 15. So, Glen Scotia, owned by the Loch Lomond Group. So, if it's owned by the Loch Lomond Group, we have to have a
Michael Henry moment.
Oh, the painstaking moments it took me to make that. Yeah, Michael Henry is such a great guy, such a great help to me in doing this, that I felt he deserved his own little sting there. Anybody, and I never think this through sometimes, really, you say? That I suppose there's maybe somebody out there who don't actually know who Michael Henry is. There's maybe somebody. Michael Henry is the master blender with Loch Lomond, Glen Scotia. So, and it gives me, it's an honour for me personally to call Michael a friend. And anytime, just if it hasn't been mentioned before, of course it's been mentioned before, but if I'm reviewing either Loch Lomond or Glen Scotia products, I always reach out to Michael, and Michael always gives me the full details. So, here we go then, Glen Scotia 15. As usual, I just have it here. It would probably be easy for me to memorise this, but as I said before, there's an awful lot of information, and it's very difficult to memorise. So, the Glen Scotia 15 is 95 that is, percent unpeated spirit and 5% medium peated spirit that has all been matured in 100% first fill bourbon. It is vatted together, then finished in first and second fill Oloroso for 2 to 3 months before bottling. It is bottled at 46% non-chill filtered with some caramel colour added. So, look, as usual, brilliant. Thank you again, Michael, if you're watching in. Can't thank you enough. I just think that's class. If every bottle of whiskey that I reviewed came with that sort of information, this job would be so much easier. So much easier. So that's the nitty gritty about Glen Scotia 15. What did I pay for it? Well, I can't remember. Well, I probably paid roughly what you're paying now. It's around the 60 to 70 pounds mark. Last time I checked. So there you go. That's the price there. Let's get in, shall we? Sweet, fruity, unctuous, and I would quite happily live in this nose forever. Now, something I did mean to mention was, I did say in my previous review for Loch Lomond 14, I'll throw a link up here, that I would review this in this series. I hadn't intended reviewing it so soon in the series. I was going to leave it closer to the end of it. It's going to be a short series, but I just planned on leaving it closer to the end. But when I said I was going to review it, there seemed to be quite an interest in it, so I just thought, well, I'll just go for it now. So that's why it's in here. And somebody else commented on that video about Loch Lomond about the bottle not really opening up until they were about halfway down it. And I'll not go too deep right now, but I agree. I definitely agree with them. This took a long time for me to open up, but when it does, you're rewarded. Here's a good one for you. Fruit pavlova. So I just, and yet again, this is a very personal thing, but when I nose this, I smell just a really good, because I get all the fruits. I get little hints of mandarin orange. I get little hints of black grape. I get hints of apple. But there's a creaminess, like a real good fresh cream, and meringue. It's all there. And it just reminds me of a good fresh fruit pavlova. There's even a wee hint of blackcurrant. But weirdly, I get savoury notes as well. Get this with mushroom. I actually get a hint of mushroom on it. And even there's a slight salinity of boiled fish. Just white fish. It's funky and fruity in equal amounts, and it just balances so well. And I know we talk about that Campbelltown funk, and I know it has been discussed in the past that not only is it Mitchell and Sons that and you know, Glengyle, Springbank, but Glen Scotia also carries that, and I agree. There is that sort of weird funkiness that I always put down to 3-in-1 oil, and I'm convinced they get it here too. Palate. Nice, rich, round, sweet, sour, and even a little bitter arrival. Oh, but it's good. Oh, but it is good, and that's the first sip. That is incredible. That's yeah. That just coats so well. It all spreads so well. The flavour spreads so well. You get lovely, tangy, sherbet-like tingling around the outside edges of orange and lemon. And then this nice savoury note runs up the middle. And it's still yeah, definitely. This fruity sweetness, but still a balance of umami. It's there. Apricot, orange, crystallized ginger. Along with a hint of sea salt. A slight hint of smokiness. Very, very slight. All just working really, really well to balance each out. It's bright, but there's a slight darkness to it. It's just really good. Finish. Medium to fairly long, actually, with memories of just that. I said a bit of sherbety thing, so there's a citrusy, sherbety thing, but there's also a little nice peppery heat there. Let's add a little water, shall we? And I know, as I've said before, that give them a chance to open up. Add that water, give it a chance to settle again. I don't do it here because time, etc. But I know that this opens further. Yet again, another memory. This may be one for the Northern Ireland folk. Some Scots may get this, some Scots may know what I'm talking about. But creamy orange cremola foam. That was a tin of stuff that we used to get when we were kids. I think it's some markets you'll still get it on. It was a dry powder. You put it in, you poured water in, and it made a drink. Cremola foam, it was called. And this reminds me of the orange cremola foam. Peach melba and salted caramel. There's a caramel running through this, a very definite caramel running through this that doesn't necessarily get picked up early, but with the addition of water and time, that caramel starts to go through. Full-bodied caramel again, fudge, honey. And a nice oak spiciness right at the very back of it. Very, very good. finish doesn't change an awful lot. Still great. This is a very, very good, accomplished whiskey. I was told for a long, long time by people how good this was. And I remember trying it and remember not being blown away by it. I bought this bottle, I drank quite a bit of it and still not blown away by it. And then it started to come to life. And like, you seen my reaction when I took that first sip. It's bizarre how good this is whenever you start to get a feel for it. And I think that's what it takes. It's one of those whiskies that takes you to open up to it in the same way as you expect it to open up to you. It's just getting brighter. And now that Campbelltown funk is really starting to appear. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. As I said, 60 to 70 pounds, 15-year-old. Is that the right price? I think it is. It's, 46%. Yes, there's a touch of colour added, non-chill filtered, but I think at £60, definitely, it's a great price. So look, I can't say much more than that. I'll thank Michael Henry once again. I really appreciate his help. And we'll just move on, shall we? So yes, you've bought this and you liked it. Well, what would I recommend? Well, I was clutching. I'll openly admit, I will openly admit that sometimes I do rush these things a little. And my choices here were rushed a little. Let's see if I can explain my way out of this, shall we? I'll show you what I'm going to recommend. This Compass Box Orchard House. Now, I did my tasting notes for this quite a while ago, and I remember thinking fruity. I don't remember it playing much on the that 2 or 3 months in Oloroso that it got. So I was clutching at straws a little, and earlier on I was a little rushed, and I thought to myself, what's fruity? What do I know that's fruity and sort of full-bodied and got plenty of grip going on, got, just good stuff. And I grabbed a bottle of Orchard House out of the cabinet because it's full-bodied, fruity, good stuff. Are they similar? No. Well, if it's the fruit end of stuff you're looking for, well then, yeah, it's definitely got that same. Actually, when I mentioned Pavlova earlier on, the fruit Pavlova, all those apple and orange and hints of grape, and I mentioned, was it no, it wasn't nectarines, apricot earlier. So all that and that Pavlova, that nice cream and meringue and things like that, I get in Orchard House. So yes, if you're that end of things, yes. Whenever you get to the caramelly notes and the honey and that funkiness, well, you don't get that in the Compass Box. But look, I apologise, but I was clutching at straws. Glen Scotia 15. If you like it, go out and buy yourself a bottle of Compass Box. It's good stuff. In fairness, actually, just go out and buy a bottle of Compass Box. Orchard House anyway. It is good stuff. There, I think I dug my way out of that. No, look, I can still, and this is really, really jumping out of the glass now. Every time I move the glass around, I just get this waft, and it's that 3-in-1 oil I'm smelling. It's that WD-40 as I would know it. That wee hint, which it to me is the Campbelltown funk, and it is there. And there is a nice fresh fruitiness about this, so I stand by my Orchard House. There, done it. Actually, just let me know in the comments what you would compare this with. So look, yes, Glen Scotia 15, a good one, worth it, very much so. I will leave it there, and thank you very much for joining me once again. thank you very much to my patrons. If you should wish to join that group, the details are in the video description below. My friends, as usual, it is a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for joining me. Here's your good health. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.